What should you feed your hamster? Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna talk all about hamster diets. I'll be answering the question what to feed your hamster. If you love hamsters just like me, you're in the right place. On this channel, I am primarily creating hamster care content. So if you're interested, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, a lot of people think that you can just buy any food that's made for hamsters and then you're all set. But actually, hamsters need a lot of variety and hamster diets are actually very complicated. You should probably mix two types of food together since one sole seed mix can provide the adequate nutrition. The first thing we're gonna be talking about is the overall nutrition and the guaranteed analysis of a hamster diet. For protein, you should provide 17 to 19%. While 17% may be perfectly fine for an elderly hamster, it's in no way ideal for a growing pup or an adult. For adult hamsters, 19% of protein should be fine. Growing pups under 6 months should get 20 to 24% protein since they are of course still growing. Young hamsters getting less than 70% protein are more susceptible to being underdeveloped. For fat, you should have 6 to 7%. Many foods have either too much fat or too little. Hamsters really don't need a lot of fat, so my recommendation would be 6%. For fiber, you need 6 to 15%. Fiber is very important for proper digestion. Too much fiber will probably not be a problem, but too little can cause stomach and gut issues. Go for the most amount of fiber as possible. In my opinion, should be at least 7%. If you're liking this video so far, make sure to like this video because it really helps the channel to grow. Next thing I'll be talking about are ingredients. Hamsters are omnivores, so they eat more than vegetables and plant-based food. Hamsters have been found to eat insects in the wild. Your seed mix should at least have 7 whole ingredients with no ingredient splitting. Ingredient splitting is when several forms of the same ingredient are treated as completely separate ingredients and listed individually. Ingredient splitting can make it seem that the food has more variety than it actually does. You can, for example, add 1 oat to a seed mix and that still counts as an ingredient, but how much is that? Basically nothing. So you should always check the quantities of each ingredient, not very specifically, but in general amounts. This is another small thing that I want to add, there should be no hay in your seed mix. Hamsters cannot digest hay, and if they eat hay as a sole diet, they will die from malnutrition. Now we're moving on the quality side of hamster diets. Now, counting the whole ingredients in the mix isn't enough to know if your mix is actually nutritious. Let's first talk about fillers. A filler is basically a food that doesn't have a lot of nutrition such as vitamins or minerals. A common use filler is corn. You want corn to be somewhere at the bottom of your ingredient list or not in your ingredient list at all. And look out for ingredient splitting since corn is also very commonly split. So if you're purchasing a mix, don't purchase a mix with corn high on the list since picking out the fillers can unbalance the mix. The next thing we're gonna be talking about are pellets. The pellets are the ones with less nutrition and the lab blocks are actually the ones with like protein and nutrition. A hamster diet should not contain more than 50% pellets. A lot of new Thai hamster owners think that you can just give pellets as their everyday food, which is a bad thing to have in mind. People also use pellets because they think it will solve picky eating. But picky eating can actually be solved in many different ways. The reason that you should not be feeding your hamster pellets as a main diet is because they need variety. Imagine eating the same boring baby formula for the rest of your life. Wouldn't be fun, right? Next up, we have probiotics and prebiotics. I find this one being less talked about in the hamster community, but it's still very important. Probiotics and prebiotics are basically bacteria, yeasts, and enzymes that are crucial for digestive health. Probiotics and prebiotics are often added to hamster foods as powders and yeasts. Probiotics and prebiotics in the food is beneficial. However, the foods without it are not considered unsuitable. But of course, it's always better to have them. The next thing is sugar. Sugar is not necessarily bad and it does not need to be completely avoided. However, excessive amounts of sugar in a food can be a potential problem. It's best to avoid foods with sugar high on the ingredient list. But to be safe, it's best to buy food with no added sugar since you can use small pieces of fruit to treat your hamster and they are more healthier and much more appealing. There is a long list of sugars you should avoid such as corn syrup, corn sugar, sucrose, dextrose, fructose, rice syrup. These are all variations of sugar. The presence of sugar in a seed mix is not necessarily bad, but it does mean that the mix is low quality. I talked in the beginning how you should mix two types of food together, and these types of foods are a high variety seed mix and a high protein lab block. The most recommended mix right now is 50% of the Higgins Sunburst and 50% of the Mazuri Red and Mouse pellets. I'll leave a good calculator in the description to calculate your guaranteed analysis. If you think there is something else that should be talked about, make sure to comment it down below. I would love to know your opinion. So let's sum up the most important points so far. Your food should have 17 to 19% of protein, 6 to 7% fat, and 6 to 15% fiber. There should be 7 whole ingredients, not counting the ingredient splitting. Your food should not contain too much sugar, anything you can pronounce, or anything artificial. And it's best to have probiotics and prebiotics. The maximum of pellets should be 50%. And please do not buy anything with hay in it. But of course, a diet is only one part of the image. Click here to find out everything you need to own a hamster. And right here, YouTube will recommend something for you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.